Welcome back. This is video number 6. This is the blueprint video number 2, which is about educate. So now that your prospects see that there is, in fact, hope, it's time to educate them. Now, what do I mean by that? No, it's not time to sell them yet. Think of this kind of like a webinar, except that it's not live. So you're going to give them really good information so that they walk away wanting more. Your goal is to merely shed light that there is hope and then continue to break their walls and objections. Now, all prospects have a reason why they feel that there is no solution. And we don't necessarily know that, but that's something that you will need to figure out and maybe talk to your prospects, sit down with several of them to figure out exactly the different scenarios. Now, it is, of course, your goal to figure out what those objections are. So like I said, sit down with them and try to jot down what their common questions are and what are the common objections that they have. Another good way to do this is to talk to your customers, those who may have already purchased your product. If that is not the case, you can't really do that. But if that is the case, then you can sit down with them and say, what were your objections before you bought my product or service? And then once you bought my product and service, how did those objections change? So you should already know this, but if you don't, one secret that I can tell you and one shortcut is to take a look at your customer support help desk. Look carefully into the people who complain the most. Now, what I mean by complain is constructive criticism, not the people that just whine and complain and scream and pout, but rather the people that have valid constructive criticism. Think of those people. Oftentimes, these people are asking the very same questions that other people are asking too. Maybe oftentimes 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 are very vocal and they're giving valid constructive criticism. But the other 999 people, or how many other people, are not voicing them out loud. They're just thinking of it and they're leaving. So what you want to do in the beginning, of course, to make sure that it flows correctly, is to connect the previous video by kind of giving a recap of what you talked about in video number 1, which is the motivational video. You got to remember that people will forget what you taught earlier. So you want to briefly discuss what you'll be talking about in this video. And then after that, you want to give another recap of the opportunity or the benefit that you promised in the prior video. And then you want to give a recap of the story that you told. You want to keep this short, of course, so that they are going to remember the hope that you promised them. Now, there's still going to be a little bit of skepticism in there. So you want to make sure that you back up this hope with proof. So you can do that in several ways. You can demonstrate your results in an educational format, not a salesy way, via a case study. You can also demonstrate your results in an educational format via your client's testimonials, or if your client was able to sit down with you and be part of a case study, you can provide that in an educational format. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, that you're showcasing your client's case study. So in a non-salesy way, you can show what happened before. Maybe the client had objections, they lost hope, but then they tried your product and then this is what happened. So you definitely want to do that in a non-salesy way. And I know I keep repeating that, but the more you are more educational, you give them information that they can walk away thinking, wow, this was a really good video. I want more. Then you want to teach them something new that will conquer another common objection. So as I talked about in video 1, which was the previous video of the blueprint series, I talked about you need to figure out the objections and create a list of them, because what you're trying to do here is sprinkle them throughout the 4 videos. So in this case, you could teach them several things, several objections, and then how you can conquer those. The next thing you can do is teach them what they need to do, the what's, the whys, but not the hows. So you got to remember the what's and the whys are what do you need to do, why do you need to do it, but the hows are going to be left with your product and service. So you could give a few, but you don't want to give everything. Otherwise, there's no point in buying the product and service. So give them the what's, the whys, not the hows, on how to overcome another objection. So as you can see, there's a pattern here. Find the objections and you'll pretty much get a good script going. And then of course, in between, give some aha moments and golden nuggets of value. And of course, last but not least, you want to make sure that you connect this to video number 3, which by giving a preview of what is coming up next, which is the system or the solution or the kind of secret sauce of what makes your product and service different, what is something that you discovered, and you'll be sharing that in video number 3. Okay, so welcome to video number 7, and we're going to talk about the blueprint video number 3. So now that you have an audience with renewed hope, and you've answered their objections, you've educated them, it's now time to move into sort of a teaser of your product and service and the secret system. And no, it's not time to sell them just yet. You will do that in the last video. So I think that takes a little bit of pressure off of most people, knowing that you don't have to sell. And it's because at this point, your prospects have just begun to trust you. They're thinking, okay, I want to know more. I want to know more. Educate me more. So in short, this video is going to focus on the secret blueprint, or what we call the secret system that you have discovered. So in other words, this is kind of a unique selling proposition, or what makes you unique and different from everybody else. So let's jump right in and outline this video. Okay, so just like video number 2, video number 3 is going to connect the previous video by giving a recap. So imagine you need to make sure that you connect the dots. 1 connects to 2, 2 connects to 3, 3 connects to 4, obviously. But not just that, you need to make sure that it flows so that people remember. So give a recap. Remember, people will forget what you taught earlier. So try to recap the most important pieces of that video. Now, bear in mind that you really only want to keep these videos to max 10 minutes if possible. If it has to be 15 minutes, that's fine if you're giving a lot of really good information, or it can be longer as long as you're giving really good content. But bear in mind that most people's attention spans are very, very short, so you really need to keep it short. Next, you want to briefly discuss what you'll be talking about in this video, and that you'll be revealing the secret system or the secret sauce. So what makes you different? What makes you unique? Next, you want to discuss how you came to discover this through a similar story, through the pain, through the struggles that they have been through. So in certain respects, you're recapping the same story that you referred to a few videos ago. And then of course, you want to teach them what they need to do to win and beat their current struggle. And then of course, you can tease the sale, but don't go into it at all. So essentially what this is you're just revealing that this is a secret. This is something that your competitors don't have access to, but this is something that only you discovered. or maybe you discovered it in a specific way. You also want to take the common, frequently asked questions and answer them. And then any objections that you have not answered that are left on the list, answer those in the form of a case study and the results from you and your client. So very similar to the previous video, you're still educating them as to why this is a secret system and why this is unique. And essentially what you're also doing is you're showing them social proof that you have the results and the case studies and your clients have tried out your product or service and they're doing quite well. And of course, you want to display video or audio testimonials if possible. The reason why I say video or audio is because people's voice becomes very powerful when somebody can hear their voice and see their picture. Or if it's video, it's going to be even better than audio because people can see the person's face. And especially if that person's face matches the demographic of the person that you're talking to, it's most likely going to convert very well. And then of course, last but not least, to connect to the next video, which is video number 4, you want to preview what is coming up next. You can briefly talk about there's a solution that is going to come in the next video. You don't necessarily need to talk that they're going to buy a product, but they will get access to the solution. That way it looks like you are helping them. Okay, so let's talk about the 4th video in this series. So last but not least, this is the 4th and final video, and it's going to be the offer. So it's time to make an irresistible offer that your prospects would like to take action immediately and become your buyer. So here's a pro tip. In addition to that, you'd want to build scarcity by creating a deadline. Now imagine this, you create a sense of urgency, making them want to act now. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they are going to wait next week or a few days, the price will go out, or they will never get access to it again. So you want to make sure that you let them know that there is a deadline, there is scarcity, and when the timer ends and the doors close. And like I said, without that sense of urgency, people will tend to wait. Their lives will get busy, they'll totally forget about you. So again, let's go ahead and create an outline for this. Okay, so similar to video 2 and 3, you want to connect the previous video by giving a recap. Then what you want to do is, after the recap, which can be a couple minutes, give the offer. Make sure that it's a good deal. Then discuss the case studies and other testimonials, again, of people that have been happy, that took your offer previously, and they're doing quite well. Show how the product or service is worth 10 times more than what you're asking. So what you can say is, this is a product, this is what it's going to do for you, here's the list of the benefits, here's how it's going to benefit you, and here's the price. But you don't want to go straight into the price. You want to say something like, let's say the price is $1,000. You could say, well, this price is actually worth $10,000. But we're not going to charge you $10,000. We're not going to charge you, and then start decreasing 5 times down. So $10,000, could be worth it, but we're not going to charge that. We're not going to charge $9,000. We're not going to charge $7,000. We're not going to charge even $2,000 or $1,000. But today, and only today, during the special launch, you can get it for something like $497. And then give the offer link. And then once you're done with that, as people are clicking the link and all that, you're still going to get people that are not sure. They're not sure if it's going to be enough for them. So what you can do at that point is you discuss any extra bonuses or fast action bonuses for those who take action immediately, or as ASAP, or as soon as possible. So you could say, well, for those of you who immediately take action today, for the first 20, you'll get access to this. And make sure that you give a time limit. You can say, this is going to last till Sunday evening next week or 4 days later. And once that is going to happen, then we're going to close it down. And make sure that you continuously give the offer link, and ask for the sale. A lot of people don't ask for the sale, and by not asking, you will not get. So just by asking for the sale and not begging for the sale, but just giving it, handing it over, and allowing people the opportunity to get access to it in a helpful way, they are more likely to take action. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as you can see, it is an outline, so you will need to create your own script, but how you do that is going to be based upon your product and service.